So I might be crazy, but I think I'm going to change the entire garden setup for this year. I've been walking around the last couple of days, looking at the current setup, and realized that while it works, there's a lot of stuff that could be better. There's a lot of stuff that could be organized better, and things that would overall just improve how this space functions. I love the parts of it. I'm just not a fan of how everything has come together with it. So, I'm going to do a video today on what I plan to change, how I want to do it, and look at some drawings that I've done of what I think it's going to look like. So, let's go from there. So the first challenge I have with the garden is this. When I originally put up the gate, I've got one gate on the west side. I had put it in the center, which works, made sense at the time. The problem is that when I put it in the greenhouse, now all of a sudden when I open the door and walk through, I'm staring at the greenhouse. So I thought it would be neat to do just kind of a curved path that goes over this. I'm not sure I like that look. I think I would like it better if I walked straight in and could actually look at what I was doing, look at the space, and had a little bit more structure to it. The other thing that I don't like about this is that I cannot see the other side of the greenhouse, which is where the chickens and the ducks are. So if you look over on that side, my entire view of the chicken coop is blocked by the greenhouse. Now, I love the location of the greenhouse, but I don't know in this case that that works. So, problem number one, move the greenhouse, get a central path through the garden, and something that makes a little bit more sense in terms of its layout. The second big issue I have with this space is that the original chicken run, which is 30 feet by 70 feet, I took over part of it, this south side that you're looking at now. I took over that area last year to put in tomatoes. The problem is, in the middle of this, I've still got a fence. So if I want to get to the tomatoes, I have to go through the gate and actually go over to that separate side and access it that way. Not a huge issue, but it means that there's this big gulf between the main southern part of the garden, which, I apologize, but it's currently covered with all of my irrigation stuff, and the area that I'm using for kind of overflow gardening, if you will. I would like this to all be one space, and I would like the fences to be sturdy, the fences to be straight, less of the temporary look and more of a permanent physical structure that I can use year to year, modify as needed, rotate crops as needed, but use on a regular basis. Another issue I have is that I don't have a dedicated space for, in this case, the garlic. I don't have a dedicated space for perennials. So they've kind of gotten thrown around in different locations. I've got some rhubarb up here. I have this section here that doesn't have weed blocks, so I've used that for potatoes. But I don't really have anything organized. So there's the rhubarb. I have some perennial flowers next to it. But then there's all this wasted space. In this case, I put together some pieces of weed block fabric. It just looks junky. It doesn't look like I have a plan, because honestly, when I put all this stuff in, I didn't. So I'd like to fix that. I'd like to have dedicated perennial beds. I'd like them to be in locations that are convenient, but also locations that can expand as needed from year to year. The next big issue I have, which is more just me not getting stuff done as quickly as it needs to, is that I don't have a good fence gate system here. I've got hog panels, I've got temporary areas, the meat birds are over here. They've got a good space, they like it, it's secure, I don't have any concerns about it, but I don't really have a good place for them to go in the off season. So this was a quick weekend project, 10 by 15 area. I've got 21, I believe, meat birds left. But then what happens when this is done? Where do these things go so that, again, if you're looking at it from a distance, it doesn't look like it's pieces of metal roofing and extra cages and all of that stuff. So I'd like something more permanent, something that I can have for the meat birds, for the baby chicks, for example, before they go in with the rest of the flock, that's protected, that's secure, but is also going to be convenient and not something that is difficult to get in and out of. In this case, wire stretched around a fence post. It's not a big deal, but I'd like something more permanent. One of the projects for this summer is the rabbits. getting a more permanent rabbit hutch setup. I actually went through last summer and did the 4x4 posts. Everything's in concrete, everything's sturdy. My problem with it, which I didn't realize at the time, is that it's kind of inconvenient to get to. In order to get to this, I'm going to have to walk through all of the chicken stuff, the hay bales, the waters, all of this stuff. Stuff that I'm working on, stuff that's in progress. It's not bad, but I'd really like something that's a little bit more permanent and a little bit more accessible. And the final issue I have is storage. This is my hay for the rabbits. It started as a nice pile. As I've taken bits and pieces, some of the younger rabbits prefer the softer stuff, so I've kind of dug through it. It's a mess. It's in the corner of the greenhouse. It's essentially wasted space. And I really need a way to take what is discarded and left on the ground by the rabbits and actually use it. Right now it's in the greenhouse, which is fine. But as I said before, when these cages come out, it starts to get too warm. I don't really have another option. If I take the cages out, they need to have more sturdy protection, which also means I need to have the corners and all that locked so that they don't get the water. If I leave them in here, then it has to be cool enough for the rabbits to be safe and healthy, which once summer hits is not an option. I can't take the side walls up, so the greenhouse is, or the plastic rather, is attached to the bottom. So I don't really have a flexible option for them. I did put in windows at the back and the front. They're great for now. I don't think I'm going to get enough air movement when the time comes. So I do have windows framed out. There's 4 on the front. There's 4 on the front with the door, and then 4 on the back. But again, once the summer heat hits, I don't think this is going to be enough. I also have this big area up above that has not been fully framed out. So I need to fix that. I need to have a way to get the ventilation that I need. And I don't know that I can do it in the greenhouse. I think I need a dedicated space for the rabbits that has a breeze, that has shade, and all those good things.